Alright guys, welcome to the channel. For those of you who are not new, you should be slightly familiar with the Type RA restoration and rebuild. If you're new to the channel, then you've definitely got some catching up to do on this car, as it has come a very long way since I've got it. So mechanically everything is done, the car runs and drives. There's just one thing missing. The entire exterior of the car is not there. So let's jump right in and go over what exactly is going on here and how much further I have to go before this is a complete and beautiful car. So for a recap, this is a Japanese 1994 WRX Type RA. So a considerably rare car. I do have most of the exterior in an epoxy primer, but that is not to say that it is 100% straight and ready to paint. So what I'm going to start with in finishing this car is painting the body and clear coating it, and then I will get into all the individual pieces, which I've begun working on in the background here, so you'll get to see all the progress on that as well. Before I can deem this ready for paint, what I've got to do is, I did do some slight body work on it before the epoxy, but what I'm going to do now, no matter what, I would have to sand this all anyway so that paint is going to stick. What I'm going to start with is some guide coat on most of the large panels, and I will get into some blocking. Make sure everything is nice and straight. We'll probably take it right up to an 800 grit, and then I think we are ready to get the rest of this shell into paint. Working away back on the hood here, it had so much assorted paint on it. This was the fastest way to start to take it down. So this is one coat of a paint stripper. So I got to do another coat to get this last stuff off. It was black and then red and then silver and then red. Did originally come off a red car because the underside is just one layer of original paint and it is red. This being the Type RA, it is aluminum. So once I get this all off, I'm going to do an epoxy primer on this, and then I'll do some filler primer and tune up any blemishes or dents. It does have some weird stuff, like someone put too long of a bolt mounting the hood, so it kind of puffed up there. That should be easy to just bang back down. This side had a little bit of a bend. So I'm going to put another coat of stripper on this, and we should be back down to metal after that. Now that I've gone over and stripped the panels, I've, filled any obvious blemishes or repaired them, pulled them, etc. So the next stage here is to get some proper filler primer on this so I can start to block all the pieces and get them actually ready for paint. Here we go with some primer. So with this stuff all done, it is ready to block out, look for any more inconsistencies or blemishes, and then a bit more prep. Some of the stuff has to be done two-sided, and then moving on towards paint. Working away on the Type RA. This is not the original bumper, but it is the same bumper that would come on the car. My actual original bumper that came on the car was in horrible condition, like beyond repair. It had all sorts of holes drilled in it for stuff. This bumper is pretty good condition. It's got some chipping paint. It looks like it was painted once upon a time. So you can see some suspicious spray there. Very suspicious, but it is in really good condition. So I am going to start to sand it, check for any blemishes, and get it ready for filler primer. This is actually the final piece on the car that I have to prepare for primer. after about 10 seconds of sanding, I can tell it's not looking good, bruv. So what I'm gonna do is tape up all the, mask up all the open areas of the car. This is gonna need a bit more intervention than I expected to prepare for paint, at least the roof. I don't think the quarter panels are gonna be as bad, but I don't wanna dust out my nice car inside, so I'm gonna go ahead and mask all these doors and holes, and then I can get messy with. All right, we've got it all masked up now, so at least we won't flood the car with sanding dust. I'm going to resume on the roof here. So as you can see, the little dark spot on the roof is the guide coat still remaining. There's a bit of a ring here. What I'm gonna do is just block this whole front section. I know the rest of the roof is straight for the most part, but this front section across here is my concern. And I'm back after blocking the whole car, at least all the actual like exterior panels. So it's not too bad. This was never like completely prepared for paint. Some of the major blemishes were fixed, but it wasn't gone over and like prepared to paint. Something like that is a very small dent, another very small dent. So these may have been like repaired, but they're just not good enough. Little dent there, little guy there. These funny spots going across the roof are actually from the roof supports. Here I've got like a little pond to fill, another little pond. This quarter, not too bad. Two little dips there, two there. These are so light, like that, that, that. They'll fill in with filler primer. Little denter there. A little bit of action here, and then continuing on here. So I mean, this is almost a 30-year-old car. It's never been repainted or anything like that prior to this, so nothing I didn't expect. This shouldn't take me too long to get it prepared. What I'm gonna do in some of the deeper spots is I'm gonna fill them with filler, sand them down, and then what I'll do is like right here with the car in this spot, I'll get all the dust off it and just come in with the paint gun and some filler primer and just kind of do some touch-ups on the spots that I need to, block it all again. Once I'm good, I can unmask the car and move it into the paint booth and prepare for actual paint. All right, with the car all blocked out and any of the blemishes fixed to the best of my ability, I've got it pretty much all masked up. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up some filler primer here, and I really only need to focus on spraying the panels that are, you know, considered the exterior. The door jambs are already fine anyway and primed. So I'm going to hit the roof, the pillars, and the quarter panels here. And then I can go over it one more time, make sure we're at 100%. So I got 2 coats of filler primer on it, so that should help the transitions on any of the filler I had to use. I'm gonna start with a 400, then finish with an 800. Then I have to completely sand the jambs as well in preparation for paint. Well, finally, it is all sanded up to 800. There we go. So now I've got to get the rest of the dust off it, unmask it, clean up the booth there, and I can wheel it in for the final prep. Here we are, ready for paint. We are all masked up. Masking this was definitely a task that took me a while. So I had to make sure that I masked off everything so that I don't get overspray under the car, completely masked. So it has all been wiped down. Now I'm going to go over it again with a tack cloth, clean off any debris. I've got my chems kind of warming up here. And now I'm ready to mix some base and get some color on this thing. Very exciting. Alright, with the shell all painted, I can begin to unmask. It's the next day here. I'm actually just warming up the booth a little bit so it's easier for me to pull my tape. This turned out well. This was the first time I used this clear and the first time I used this clear coat gun, but it got really good results. Biggest challenge for me here is this isn't exactly a professional setting, so dealing with the temperature of the booth, you know, there was points in here when I was spraying and it was getting as cold as 15 degrees, which is not ideal for flowing clear coat. I am happy with how it turned out. It looks really good. I'm definitely really happy with the new gun that I got. It's an Iwata WS400 clear coat gun. So it was quite a bit of bucks, but I feel like it will pay itself off in me having to wet sand and polish a lot less on my finishes. So the base coat I'd say is flawless. I really took my time making sure it was super clean underneath. And the clear is very good. I think overall, I had one little spot, I don't know if you can see that. It's just the slightest little roll of a drip run going down inside the door there. There it is. As for the bodywork, definitely 100%. It looks fantastic, like absolutely awesome. Now with the car all unmasked, we get a good look at it. Obviously the color is pretty much perfect match to my previous paint. So there's my transition. I don't know if you can even see it. I rolled the edge of my tape, but again, it wouldn't even really matter if it was like a hard transition. I just didn't want to end up peeling the paint because this will be covered by the fender in the door. Other than that, you know, there was no transitions needed. Everything was basically completely separate part, completely separate angle. Yeah, looking at it now, I am very happy with how it turned out. There isn't much to correct other than that little tiny rolling drip. So yes, I'm very excited to have it up to this stage. It looks really awesome now being one color. From here, I'm going to let it chill out a little bit, and then I have all sorts of assembly that I can do now on the chassis, like including putting the rest of the whole interior in, the windshield in, you know, all the door surrounds, moldings, the trunk molding, all sorts of stuff. I do have a whole trunk interior to put in. So I think I'm gonna end the video here, guys. Next one, I'm gonna get into painting all the rest of the pieces that attach to this. I'll show you, you know, most of the interior going into the car. I can put on the bumper beams, not that they're much of anything, being a JDM, more or less just a bumper holder. Can finish up the gas door hole and all sorts of sweet stuff. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, guys, well, thank you for watching, and if you've been along for the journey from the start, holy, it has been a long time coming to get here. But I am happy to say that all the loose panels are already, you know, de-dented, and they've been gone over in filler primer, so the next bit should go pretty quick as long as I'm able to give myself the time to do it. So fingers crossed, here we go. Thanks for watching, guys.